For 6 days, we traveled from world-famous temples to the untouched rugged nature with breathtaking views and lots of volcanoes. We ended with a visit to a health clinic as we descending into an active volcano. In this video, we want to show you how this is possible. Welcome to East Java, Indonesia. Located in the heart of Java, you will find the magnificent Borobudur Temple, world's largest Buddhist temple. The temple sits majestically on a hilltop overlooking lush green fields and distant hills. If you want to visit the Borobudur Temple, there are 2 types of tickets available: temple ground tickets and temple structure tickets. It is best to book an online ticket in advance and then choose an early time slot. Because each hour, there are only 150 people allowed to visit the temple to a maximum of 1,200 people. Wearing shoes is not allowed to prevent further damage to the temple, but you will receive a nice pair of slippers that you can keep as a souvenir. With the temple structure tickets, you will also be assigned to a guide.
Card holder number 4, please follow Mr. Iskandar.
Borobudur is built in the 9th century. It consists 9 floors and is decorated with more than 2,600 reliefs and over 500 Buddha statues. The entire structure was built without a drop of cement, but is held together by a specific stacking technique and the use of keystones. The absolute highlight is the view from the top, where 72 stupas are placed around a central dome. On the way to the exit, you will pass some souvenir shops. And if you have enough time, go visit Candi Mendut, a small Buddhist temple with a monastery that is definitely worth a visit. From Borobudur, you can reach it by car in about 10 minutes. Less than an hour's drive from Yogyakarta, you will find the largest Hindu temple complex in Indonesia, the Prambanan Temple complex. Besides Hindu temples, you will also find Buddhist temples. The whole complex consists of the Prambanan Temple, the Sewu Temple, the Lumbung Temple, and the Bubra Temple. The Prambanan Temple, built in the 10th century, is the largest temple dedicated to Shiva in Indonesia. 3 temples are decorated with reliefs illustrating the epic of the Ramayana and dedicated to the 3 great Hindu gods, Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma. In our opinion, the Sewu Temple is the most impressive. It is also the 2nd largest Buddhist temple in Indonesia. At each direction to the complex, you will find 2 large stone gatekeepers. And you can still see the damage caused by the heavy earthquake in 2006, which caused many temples to collapse. Tickets for this complex can be bought at the ticket office. It is not necessary to buy them in advance. We visited the complex in the late afternoon, so we could watch the sunset. Perfectly timed to see the big yellow sun setting between the stupas while the sky turned completely orange. Our next stop, Mount Bromo, was quite a drive, 6 hours exactly. But with the best driver and the most beautiful voice we have ever heard, we arrived with a blink of an eye. Another option is to take the train to Surabaya or Malang, but you still have to take a 2-hour drive to Mount Bromo. Mount Bromo is a 2,300-meter high volcano on Java. The large volcano is surrounded by a vast sea of sand, where most visitors drive around with a 4x4 Jeep. We stayed at the Artitel, less 20 minutes drive from the volcano. Because we left early today, we still had some time to take a quick look at the volcano, but this is just a taste of what's coming. Still, we are glad that we went up before sunset because the scenery is out of this world and completely different compared with the morning. The best experience is to see the volcano during sunrise, so we had to be ready at 3 a.m. Under normal circumstances, you should be there within 20 minutes. But because everyone has the same idea, a traffic jam of hundreds of Jeeps is inevitable, which is why we have to leave early. We recommend getting some food beforehand. There are also shops on site where you can get drinks and snacks, and possibly warm clothing if you need it. But it's all very basic, so don't expect to get an extensive breakfast. So be prepared. The best place to watch the sunrise is King Kong Hill, so that's where we're heading to find the perfect spot. Once the sunrise has started, you have an incredibly beautiful view, and if you're lucky, the entire ground is covered in a mysterious mist. When the mist is disappearing, it is time to drive to the crater. Together with hundreds of other colorful 4x4 cars, we are racing over a large sea of sand. Such an awesome experience. After we finished racing, we climbed the volcano for the second time. The view is clear and there are much more people. Don't forget, you are at an altitude of 2,300 meters. The air is thin, so it can be quite exhausting. To the Hindu population, the volcano is sacred, and daily offerings are made to the statue of Ganesha, the protector of the volcano, which can be found on the edge of the crater. Our next stop, Jodipan, is one of the most colorful stops we have ever visited. Jodipan was a slum that was supposed to be demolished. A group of students came up with the idea to provide the entire neighborhood with a remarkable coat of paint. After it was painted in 2016, this colorful rainbow village in Java started to be noticed by tourists, and social media did the rest. You can choose to view the village only from the bridge. but walking through the painted streets is much more fun. If you want to enter the village, you will have to pay a small entrance fee, which supports the locals. Without a doubt, the most spectacular waterfall in Indonesia. Tumpak Sewu, also known as the Waterfall of Thousand Waterfalls, is a breathtaking natural wonder located in East Java. This majestic waterfall is renowned for its impressive cascade, lush green surroundings, and awe-inspiring beauty. Overshadowed by the active Semeru volcano in its background, which can be seen on a clear day. With a height of 120 meters, Tumpak Sewu is one of the highest waterfalls of Indonesia. You can view the waterfall from the top, but the best way to experience this waterfall is by hiking down into the canyon to reach the base of the falls. The best time to do this is in the morning as early as possible, not only to avoid the crowds, but also to have the best light. When visiting, we can recommend you to take a guide. At the parking lot, they are waiting for you. For a small fee, they give you the best experience of your life. They will bring you down safely and can help you carry your belongings, because you really need both of your hands to get down. Especially the part where you go down through a waterfall, so make sure you wear comfortable water shoes. Hiking through the gorge, we were impressed by the gigantic rock walls that surrounded us. Once across the river, we arrived at the foot of the Tumpak Sewu waterfall, a moment we will never forget. So mind-blowing beautiful. Another advantage of taking a guide is that they know the best spots to take the most beautiful pictures and are happy to help you with that. Once we visited the waterfall, we walked downstream into the spectacular gorge. Truly stunning to see the untouched, rugged nature that Java has to offer. Most people visit Tumpak Sewu from Malang, from where it is a good 2 hours drive. Because our final destination is Mount Ijen, we chose to book a hotel in less than 15 minutes away from the waterfall, so that we could start this awesome tour early in the morning. Now that you're around, pay a visit to the Kapas Biru waterfall. Completely different, but definitely worth it. If you have enough time, you could choose to hike to the waterfall, but it's a tough hike. We still had a 6 hours drive ahead of us, so we only visited the viewpoint, and with a drone we get pretty close. Traveling through Java is quite tough if you are short on time. Getting up early every day and driving long distances. Our last stop in Java, Mount Ijen, is a 6-hour drive from Tumpak Sewu. Because the Kawah Ijen tour starts every day around 12:30 a.m., we decided to book an extra night at Ijen Resort Villas. This is the perfect place to get zen before we start the tough Kawah Ijen hike. Surrounded by beautiful rice fields, this resort is so peaceful. It has beautiful gardens to walk and an outdoor pool for swimming, if it's not too cold. Everything is super well maintained. There is a spa and the food is delicious.
Yeah, good.
Wow, very delicious. Yum yum.
Before we arrived, we first went to a health clinic. Many visitors don't know this, but everybody needs to provide a valid health certificate as a requirement to be able to hike Kawah Ijen. It is a new regulation applied on January 2024 after some deadly accidents.
Okay, ready for Ijen.
As we said before, the activities in Java start very early. It's 12 a.m. Getting ready, and off we go to Mount Ijen. As you can see, we were not the first ones on the road. Indonesia counts more than 100 volcanoes, but the 2,769-meter-high Kawah Ijen is like no other volcano. Actually, everything about this active volcano is simply surreal. From the turquoise-colored acidic crater lake to the blue flames, which are only visible in the dark. This is due to extremely popular gas coming from the volcanic conduits burning the sulfur, which ends up in extremely beautiful scenery. Mount Ijen is the most poisonous volcano in the world, but still, we are very curious, and we are not the only ones. Armed with a head flashlight, safety goggles, and a professional gas mask, we set out to conquer this volcano, together with hundreds of other people. The reason this tour starts so early is because you have to hike up the volcano for 2 hours. Once at the top, you descend into the crater. Our advice is to book a guide for this tour as well. Our guide Adi, an ex-miner, knows this volcano from inside out. He took us along alternative shortcuts that most visitors passing by. Face to face, we admire how these miners work under appalling conditions for a very small fee. The blue fire can only be seen in the dark, but you still have to be lucky to see it. But when you actually see it, it is so unreal. After that, it is a tough climb all the way back. And because of the higher altitude, which contains less oxygen, it will be very exhausting. Once at the top, we walked half of the crater rim and prepared ourselves for one of the most beautiful sunrises we have ever seen. The sky around us is completely purple, and with the dramatic background, the fog, and the dead trees, it feels like we are in a science fiction movie. Now that the sun is rising, Kawah Ijen is revealing more and more of its secrets and beauty. On the way back, you will probably encounter the so-called sulfur carriers, an incredibly hard and dangerous profession that is still carried out in the traditional way. The climb without the baskets is hard, so can you imagine how hard it has to be with these baskets of at least 70 kilograms? This was our last stop on Java before we travel to Bali. A journey we will never forget. No matter how exhausting these days were, because of its untouched beauty in all its forms, we received so much energy back. And we want to thank our private driver Vicky for making this possible, but also all the local guides that we have closed in our hearts. So if you're looking for a driver and a friend who will take care of everything for you in Java, do not hesitate. We definitely recommend Vicky.